good, everybody? Welcome back to Straw Hat Gaming. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for everybody who showed their support by watching my first video at Bahrain. Go check it out if you haven't. And also to everybody who subscribed. It really means a lot to know that all the work that I'm putting into these videos, especially with it being a side activity, are being appreciated. So just wanted to say thank you to everybody, and let's hope that we can make this a regular thing and I can give you some more entertaining content. But let's get right into it. We are in Australia for round 2 of SCRL. This time I forgot to start recording before qualifying. That's why you see the lobby screen there with no qualifying. But we did indeed qualify. It was a full qualifying again. We made it through Q1 fairly easily. Whenever we got to Q2, I kept invalidating every single lap until the very end. And unfortunately, right as I went out for my last lap, we got rain, and I couldn't set a good time, so that's why we qualified in 15th. Again, another poor qualifying performance. I really need to make sure that I step that up for the rest of the season. Otherwise, we're never going to be fighting for the front spots. So I think this race was probably one of the best league races I've done. You'll see why later, but it definitely is a masterclass of tire strategy, I would say, and it's nothing that we predicted or anything, but hopefully you can see how to handle such a situation. But let's get started right off the line. We got a good start, but we are just trying to make sure we keep it clean through the first corner. You can see everybody's clean for the most part. We're just trying to hang back outside and not get into too much trouble. You can see 4 or 5 people going wide in the same corner. Art coming up on our right side. We make sure we make room for him on the outside, but that was our corner anyways. And some people losing out. We're already up into 13th place, and we just need to make sure we keep our wits about us so that we don't get into unnecessary trouble. As right here, Kaler comes right back across us, and we almost lose the car. I was surprised that I was able to keep it in check, but Rampage goes through. We're back down into 14th, and I'm not too worried about it because Rampage is on the softs, and the pace difference between the softs and the mediums is quite drastic here. As Ark is, I think he was lining up for a move here, but I just moved into the inside and just tried to cover him off, and I think he realized that he was never going to be able to make a move right there, but just settling down in the race. And again, we're at one of those tracks where it's really important and at the same time really hard not to get invalidations, because those 3, 6, 9 second penalties really do make a difference at the end of the race, like you saw in my last race where I lost 2 positions because I ended up less than a 10th behind the people ahead of me that didn't have as many penalties. As we are lining up a move on Kalar, it was pretty easy. We kind of dived in, made the corner, left them enough space on the outside, and again left them enough space on the inside, and we're through into P12. As you can see, a little bit ahead of Stinky, we have a gap building between what I'm guessing is the soft runners and the rest of us, which that's not good. And this isn't one of the tracks where really losing the DRS is that big of a deal, but again, you don't want to be losing that pace advantage to the softs like that. See Rampage trying to pull a move on Stinky, which he has the inside line. Stinky goes a little bit wide, and we're thinking maybe we can get through with them because they lost so much time through that chicane, but ultimately we just didn't have enough top speed for that, and we weren't close enough, so just trying to bide our time, because being the third person in a DRS train is the worst position you can be in, because you're at the mercy of the second place or the first place guy in the train to make a mistake, and you can see Rampage is already pulling away from us, so I have to make sure I stick close to Stinky, and we do have that pace advantage over both of them, but we have to get ahead of Stinky to stick with Rampage on those softs so he can pull us even more towards that big pack ahead. And you can see how much later we can brake than Stinky, just how much more speed we can carry through the corners, and I think that we had a great setup for this race. I felt really comfortable. There was very little oversteer, very little understeer, so the balance was really good, and I was excited to keep racing. And right here, I just cut that inside curve a little bit too much, which shifts me more out than I would like, and I get my first track limit warning of the race. That kind of messed up our focus for this chicane as Rampage loses it on the exit, and you can see Fluffy right behind us. I think he was going for a move right here, and if that virtual safety car hadn't come out, I think he would have definitely tried to dive bomb us for the position. But luckily, the virtual safety car came out when it did, and we didn't have to worry about that. Now at the end of the virtual safety car, you can see the gap that's ahead of Stinky to the soft runners ahead, and we're just losing way too much time, so we really need to focus now and make that move on him to catch back up to them, as he just gets a little bit too wide there, and the curve spins him out. That's just really unfortunate for him. It's not a very uncommon thing to do. I've done it quite a few times in practice, but that's a blessing in disguise for us because now we have clean air to the cars ahead. And I know we had the pace on everybody in this race except for the top three. So I know we could catch up even with the soft advantage. Joining back up a few laps later on lap 12, we've caught up to the people ahead by about 2 to 3 seconds, but the important thing is that everybody has a penalty. It's barely lap 12 of the race, not even halfway, and everybody's got 3, 6, 8 second penalties, and we still have none, so we're doing really good on that part. I think we only have the one track invalidation, so I'll lay back and not really have to worry about that too much. And Kalar retires from the session. I don't know what happened to him there, but this kind of messes up our strategy because it's too early to pit from the mediums and too early to pit to get new softs. We have 17 laps remaining in the session, and we've only done 12 on the mediums, and we're already at 47% on that front left. So the softs definitely cannot make it to the end, but that's the only choice that we have. With the 2 extra laps from the safety car, we could get a little bit more of a cushion, but even then, it'll be really tough getting these softs to the end of the race. So definitely a challenge ahead of us, but we are going to have the pace over everybody else in the entire field, so we have to take advantage of that. Coming back at the end of the safety car, we left a little bit of a gap to the people in front because I know that turn 1 will be a choke point for everybody. So we're trying to give ourselves enough space so we can get a good run out of turn 1 and maybe make the move. And as you can see, people just go crazy in turn 1, and we are in trouble now because that allowed Will to get through on the outside. We had to brake mid-corner, and we knew we had the soft, so I make the move on him. I hit the apex, and right here, you guys will have to tell me what we can call that, because I left enough space on the outside for him to get through, and from my POV, it looks like he was turning into me while I was trying to turn more to the outside, which I don't know. That just, I feel like he had enough space there and should have kind of backed off because that was the outside, and that series of corners, you just have no space there. And I don't know. I think that I left enough space, and I had to make contact with him, so that was all him that he went out wide, and I just had to make the move to get ahead of everybody because I could not afford getting stuck behind some more medium runners. And We got through to 4th place. Again, you can see the huge pace difference we have on these softs, and still with no penalties. So we're in a good position. SWAT is right ahead of us, and then that's a podium position. A bit later in the lap, we've made sure to stick close to SWAT because we need to make sure we take advantage of this next DRS zone so that we're not losing too much time behind him, because he's on those mediums, and we need to catch up to Jonah and to Cam ahead. So here we get a good run out of the chicane. We don't have DRS yet, actually, but we do have the tire advantage, and we just dummy him that we're going to the outside, cut into the inside, and that was a great move, even with the tire advantage. So we had a lot of pace in this car, and we needed to catch up to those ahead. Now, I'm bringing you guys back on lap 21 of the race, much later now, and you can see that we've maintained the gap to Jonah ahead, but also our tire wear is now at 36%, 37% on that front left, and we still have 7-8 laps to go, so we need to make sure we're saving tires. So I wanted to bring you guys along on one lap to give you my thought process on how I was going about saving those tires to make it to the end of the race. You can see how much earlier I'm having to brake, so I'm not putting too much stress on that front left, because that's going to be our limiting factor, the left side tires. Again, braking really early, and don't be fooled by the racing line, because you can definitely brake much later than when the red part of the line starts, but I'm having to lift off for this corner. For every right-hand corner, I'm just going 60% in. You can definitely go much quicker, but I just couldn't afford it with the soft tires. I had already made peace that I was not going to catch the guys ahead without having to pit for another set of tires, which that would just put us way too far behind everybody, and it wasn't doable. So I'm chucking it into left-handed corners and kind of going off throttle on right-handed corners. And this part of the lap, sector 3, is where you can save the most tire, basically, by just going real slow on these right-hand mid-speed corners. See, I'm shifting up before I'm even at full throttle. So that was our mentality. Just go easy around 60% on the right-handed corners, and go all out on the left-handed corners, because we need to make sure we save that left side. And finally, the end of the race. We're gonna stick to the POV for the last 3 laps, because our tires now are in the dead zone. We are 65% on the front left, 66 on the rear left. So we are really having to go slow on these right-handed corners so that we don't get a tire puncture. Look, I'm going 6th gear, not even full throttle in that corner, and just sending it on this left-handed corner. So you can see Will behind us is catching up quick. We lost already a 10th before this straight is done, and we're going to be losing even more time in every single right-handed corner. Turn 1, lost a 10th that whole corner. We are really struggling now, and Will was definitely going to catch up to me. So was SWAT. I knew they were both going to get past me, but again, I have no penalties, so I can afford to let them pass as long as I can stick within 6 seconds of them. I'm definitely not going to make it easy on them, but they are going to get past me one way or another. So we're just biding our time, knowing that at the end of this lap, probably one of them will be right behind us, and we're just going to have to go all defense. Will's already within a 10th of me coming up to this DRS zone, so we need to make sure we get a good run through it, but we just can't put any stress on those left tires. We lost a 10th already to him in this straight, and gonna lose even more in this next series of corners as our tires reach 70%, so we're definitely in the puncture zone. which could come at any minute, really. So the more stress we put on the left side, the better for us. But we're just dumping all of our battery because Will was definitely gonna go for the move here, and you'll see how much pace even those old mediums have over us now. He is right behind us. I had to half drift that corner, and I didn't think that he was gonna go for a move here, but he just chucks it and goes all the way out wide. I think definitely trying to get back at me for me diving it on him, but he drove me completely off track, and thankfully no damage. We were able to keep going right behind him. I gave SWAT enough space on the outside so that he could get ahead because he was going to anyways. So we have to make sure we stay right behind him. And you may say, yeah, we're 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds within that margin, but we're losing so much time on these softs that gap could easily get above 3-6 seconds. As SWAT bends it at the end on the last lap, I was definitely gonna get past him, but yeah, that was not good for him, and it just shows you how much stress and how much people are pushing through this entire race. And we are finally at the end of the last lap, the end of the race. You have no idea how happy I was to reach the end of this race like this. P15 to P3, I think that's a great success. A lot of points for our team, and yeah, this was definitely one of the very best league races I've ever done on this game, and definitely tested my skills and tested how I changed my mentality according to what situations I'm in during the race, because we did more laps on the softs than we did on the mediums, and that around the track like this with high tire wear, that's a really hard thing to do because you have those punctures and you can easily just oversteer or understeer out wide and just lose loads of time. But the fact that we kept it in the track the entire race without getting a penalty, without getting a major incident, I think we just managed that extremely well. And yeah, just wanted to show everybody that you can go through these difficult situations and you'll come out ahead if you take those risks. As we get driver of the day in the really laggy screen. But that's gonna be all for today, guys. I really appreciate your support again, and would love it if you liked and subscribed if you enjoyed the video. And we'll come back next time, not with round 3 at Italy, because I could not record and play at the same time. The game was simply just too laggy. But we didn't have a good result that race anyways. We ended up DNFing after crashing like 2 or 3 times. So yeah, we come back with Austria for round 4, where we definitely had an overachieving performance both in qualifying and the race. So hope you guys are looking forward to that, and that should come next week. But have a great day, guys. We'll see you next time, and take care. Deuces.